All right, today we're going to repot this plant. What this is in is it's in about a 2.5 inch container. It's one of the little, the drinking cups, the 3-ounce ones. This is Watermelon Snow. It's a sport of Rose Bouquet. And it's got some really pretty variegation and just a really delicate pink tint to the flowers. So anyhow, I'm going to start with going ahead. I'm going to pull this out. As you can see, that's got some nice roots there. I'm going to remove the wick, and I kind of just start off, I knock off the perlite just to, so it's a little bit less messy as I'm trying to cut that down. You know, if you're potting, just potting down a neck, you'd want to cut some of those off, but I'm going to go ahead and just pot this into a little bit bigger pot, so I'll leave those roots the way they are right now. You could cut them off if you wanted, especially because I see some baby leaves here I'm going to go ahead and take off. Let's see, maybe, I don't know. Go ahead and take that one. Then I see this one here is a little bit, it's smaller than the ones above it, so I'm just going to take that out. This one too. Because I did that. Take off a couple more. This, and then we're also going to take off the flowers. And this will kind of go through a little bit of an adjustment here as it's growing into that 4-inch pot. Some people do a 3-inch pot in between. I just honestly, I let them bloom in the 2.5-inch pot just to make sure they're going to bloom true. It'd be something I want to keep and kind of take the time to pot up. I'm just going to take this down. Don't cry, it'll be happy. Alright, so I'm going to take this down actually to this nice triangular shape here. Then I know I'm going to have a nice symmetrical plant. So see that? See how we have the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just since we had some smaller leaves in there. And as these grow, if we'd have left those on anyhow, those would have ended up being smaller than the next leaves that are coming out. So because I did that too, you can see here there's kind of the little nubs on the stem where those leaves were. So I'm just gonna kind of get my fingernail in there and clean that up so that can grow some nice roots there, and then it doesn't grow suckers out. Alright, so that looks good like that. Now I'm going to get my 4-inch pot ready. And white electrical tape is great for doing your labels to put on the pots. They come off nice and easy and you can stick it on the next one. I'm going to go ahead, put my wick in. And then I put, it's right about, not, probably, it's about 1/3 of this pot is actually filled with perlite. And then I go ahead and just drape that wick in there. I'm going to add a little bit of dirt, because I like to just keep everything with some Marathon, just, you know, with having things coming into the collection, even though you're, I make sure to isolate things. But and coming back from shows, it's just, I feel a little bit better. It's kind of a personal thing. Sometimes some people really don't like doing that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my spare cups and I'm going to hold it in here, and we're just going to make a nice little hole that's the same size as this so we can kind of slip it right in there, if you can kind of see that. So then I just take my dirt and fill it in around the outside of that. Any kind of violet mix that you buy commercially, about half and half, with some perlite is going to be a good bet for you. A lot of people have been growing, have their own specific recipe for making their mix, but that's just a great way to kind of get a beginner going that's not so overwhelming. It's nice and user-friendly. All right. You don't want to push this down in here. It's best after you get it in to kind of water it in. Let that dirt kind of settle in there. I just kind of make sure it's kind of lightly tapped down in there personally. And everyone kind of has their own method to it. There we go, that looks about good. So then I take the cup out and I put this in. I'm gonna see kind of how low that's sitting in there. I might need to add a little bit more dirt underneath or more dirt on the sides, but that's gonna look about good. By the time I get that kind of sat in there, let's see if it's a little bit lower than where I put that dirt. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get a good angle here with the camera where it's not too dark. But I'll just kind of slide this dirt from the sides into the middle. It's actually good to leave a little bit of room there in your soil, especially if you're showing. Then, you know, if you're taking off a row of leaves before your show, you have a little bit of wiggle room where you can add a little bit of dirt to kind of top it off to cover up where you took off a row of leaves. So don't be concerned about it coming all the way to the top. You're going to want it down a little below the edge here. All right, see if I can get a good angle for that. But see how it's not quite up to the top of that rim. And just kind of get that all worked in where you want to make sure that that dirt is in contact with the side there where we took off those leaves, so it can really put out some nice roots. But you don't want it up into the crown. So see how it's just right there, and then the leaves are just kind of right at the edge of the pot. This one's kind of sticking up the way it is, but... And then, especially with as much as I took off there, it's going to be a good idea to kind of put that in a bag for a couple of weeks, at least a few days, just to, yeah, I'd say at least a few days to, I mean, a week or two, to let those roots get established where it's not such a shock to it. You know, I keep my violet room is pretty humid, so I usually don't. Kind of depends on your environment. So there we go. We've got a plant potted up from the 2.5 inch pot to a 4 inch pot. Thank you.